Hello, hello. Welcome back. We are continuing with our Team Dark playthrough. Over halfway there.
Yeah.
Through, is this the worst one? Like the most painful?
No, the Chaotix is the most painful.
Okay. Well, this order we're doing them in makes sense to me because we're gonna do Team Rose after this, right?
Yeah.
Team Rose, I guess, has the added stress though. If you gotta get those freaking emeralds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last time I complained at length about abundance and magic, and then the time before that it was like just magic. That's two pretty negative episodes in a row. I was like racking my brain before this about like something positive I could talk about, and
Something paused I can talk about.
no like not like emotionally positive. Not the other type. I don't know. I'm kind of like drawing a blank. Like, what's good? Like, what do I enjoy?
Manga.
Oh yeah. We can talk about manga. I've been rereading Akane Banashi. Kind of like trying to get into the mind space of what if I was reading this and I was my mom? Okay? Because a little while ago, I started reading this manga called Sanju Mariko, which is about this 80-year-old woman. She's a writer. She's had a long career of writing for a literary publication. She currently lives with her son and his wife, and then their kid and his wife, and then their grandkids. So there's 4 generations, or great-grandkid. 4 generations in one home. She feels constantly underfoot. Feels awkward and bad, and it's causing some strife and turmoil, and she decides to run away from home. She goes and stays in a manga cafe, and then it just becomes this kind of long, rambling adventure of her re-encountering old friends and meeting new people and having all these experiences, and essentially just kind of getting this whole second lease on life. And as I was reading this, I was very touched. I was very moved. There was a lot of stuff that reminded me a lot of how my mom's mom feels. My grandma on my mom's side, things she said, and the relationship between my mom and her, I felt was very well represented in this manga. And then other plot lines too. I found myself thinking like, this isn't too far off from a situation that could happen with me and my mom in the future. So I took the plunge and I said, Mom, you should read this. You know, my mom and I are both avid readers of books. Growing up, we read a lot of kind of children's book series together. We read all of Narnia and all of Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit. I think a great factor in my love of reading came from my mom. And nowadays, I don't really read like books very much. I mostly just read manga. And I was like, I should get my mom to read manga. My conclusion was, I'm enjoying this so much, and I find that it's just fits into my lifestyle so well, and there's so many aspects of manga. You know, I've got like a million videos on this channel talking about how much I love manga, and why manga is so special to me among like all artistic mediums. What the frick? Why did he slide like Slippery Sam?
Okay.
Frickin' plants. Thanos oil down these plants or what?
What are you talking about? Is this supposed to be like the diaper fetish thing?
Yeah, what?
Sorry, I forgot to get a ring.
Oh. The animations, whenever you die from getting hit without getting a ring, they're just like so bizarrely sudden and like anticlimactic. It's hilarious to me. So yeah, I told my mom, hey, read Sanju Mariko. I showed her where she can read it on her phone. I thought that would be pretty easy peasy. and she read like 5 or 6 chapters, I think, and said she was really enjoying it, but that she found it annoying to read on her phone. And I was like, that's fair, because it is a little annoying to read on your phone. You often have to kind of like zoom in to make out smaller text and stuff, or at least maybe my failing eyes require that. So I was like, alright, fair enough. So then I was like, what manga do I have physically that I could lend to my mom that she might like? And rereading Akane, I was like, ooh, maybe this could get her into it. Like, Akane, I think, hits a really good sweet spot where it is very much like a shonen series. Like, it has the story beats and structure of shonen, but it's like, you know, it's like art. And it's interesting cultural study, and it's comedic and heartfelt, and it's not just like punching and kicking. I think the fact that the protagonist is like a cool ass-kicking girl that making big waves and, you know, developing her own thing.
She'll rock with that. She likes girl
She'll
power.
rock with that. Yeah, she's a girl boss enjoyer. Akane's biggest girl boss in Weekly Shonen Jump right now. Besides maybe Roboco, but that's kind of cheating. So yeah, I've been like trying to scope it out for like really try to see it through fresh eyes, you know, not as me reading it when it came out and it's like the 80th series in Weekly Shonen Jump, you know, like I've read so much manga. There's certain kind of things that I think I kind of just pass over without really acknowledging because they're just so baked into kind of my structural expectations. And so far, Akane has not done anything weird. I'm actually quite impressed, despite writing for Weekly Shonen Jump, which has such kind of like a strong readership and such kind of like a core image in terms of what series usually succeed there. Why the frick were you flipping around so much? What was going on? Akane like really does not ever get too tropey. It's never like fan servicey. There's never anything like stupid. It never seems like it wants to like pander. What the fuck? It never wants to like pander to you in any way. I'm so impressed, and it's the author's first series. It's crazy. Just the confidence and like, yeah, we're gonna tell this story about Rakugo. There's no stupidity in it. Nobody has like a superpower. Yeah, it's made me really appreciate that. So I was thinking like Akane, a good fit. Skippin' Loafer, she might enjoy. It's another one of my favorite manga that we recently picked up in physical. Got the first 10 volumes, which I think is everything that's out so far. So I've been rereading that bit by bit too in the physical form. That one, it's like...
Kill.
It's like really, really good. And I think it is very kind of holistic as a rom-com insofar as it really cares about the characters and the setting and all of the relationships between the characters, the side characters and stuff, and how they grow. But it does feel still like it's a rom-com, right? Like, within the first few chapters, you see, you know, Shima-kun in dazzling, flowery backgrounds, and there's these kind of like heart-throbbing moments as they get to know each other and stuff. It's a lot more subversive insofar as, you know, the character archetypes are a lot more complex and nuanced than most rom-coms and stuff, but I'm like, if I had never read a rom-com before, if I had never stepped foot in this entire genre space and I was reading this, would it feel like weird to me how the characters interact from the jump? Because it's like, you see there's a boy and a girl on the cover, and they have their like fateful encounter in chapter 1, and you're like, oh, okay, I get what this is about. Like, I get where this is going. This is gonna be about their emerging relationship, and everything is gonna be kind of oriented to that. Uh, and that's because I've read, hundreds of rom-coms before. So it's like, how... But the characters, like, they're so deep and so real and so lovable. But then there's just this one, like, kind of genre X factor where it's like... Well, of course, the fate would have it that they have this encounter and that they're immediately drawn to one another, and most of the major events in their life kind of revolve around one another. And that's less natural, Like, that's not... I don't know. Does it make any sense? Do you get what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I don't know. I don't know how my mom would like that. I'd be curious to see. I think it's a pretty good series, like, for somebody that doesn't read a ton of manga to get into. I think it's a good introduction to rom-coms because there's nothing stupid. It sets a high bar for the genre, which you need to have, or else you're just gonna read infinite trash and end up reading like Rent a Girlfriend or something.
I was gonna say, could you imagine your mom reading like Rent a Girlfriend?
No, God, no! I have to be so careful.
Hey Emily, I was reading this Kanojo Mo Kanojo.
Well, that's girlfriend.
Yeah, but isn't that also garbage?
That's also trash. Yeah, they're all bad. Did I tell you that Jack was trying to read every single manga with girlfriend in the title because he thought they were probably all bad, and then they turned out to like all be bad.
He's trying to read Domestic Girlfriends, isn't that the one where he like fucks his stepsister?
Yeah, one of them. You can be a little more specific, but yeah, the rom-com genre. It's like, I think the biggest thing to distinguish is there's shoujo rom-com and shonen rom-com, and shoujo rom-com I think is actually hits a pretty high average, and it's like the ones that are bad are kind of like just sort of adorably cliche, it's like real wish fulfillment, my prince type stuff, and then ones for shonen, the floor is so low and they're so mostly like fan servicey crap. And probably the best rom-com for boys is Blue Box, and I think Blue Box works really well because it's basically just a shoujo rom-com except they also play sports. So it combines one genre for the girls with one genre for the boys. Another one I was thinking about was Sangatsu no Lion. One of my all-time favorites. I think the anime adaptation is just straight up my favorite anime. But both the anime and the manga, I think would be kind of like hard to parse for somebody new to the medium. Because the anime is by Shaft, and like most Shaft productions, it's very experimental, a lot of stuff is presented non-diegetically, where a conversation between characters will suddenly warp to different settings to kind of illustrate the emotional mood or the lines between characters' imaginations or what they're describing and what we're actually seeing in diegesis get very blurry, and the art style changes a lot to kind of reflect different modes of characterization and all this. Like, it's big reason why it's like my favorite anime of all time is that it tells such like an emotionally compelling story, but with all of this technique, beat by beat, bringing out like another layer to everything that's happening emotionally, whether it be comical scenes or extremely tense scenes or tragic sad scenes or whatever. And it's like, if I hadn't watched a ton of anime, like, could I even follow this? Like, not trying to like sell my mom short, she's very, very smart, but like, I don't know.
But she's an anime novice.
Exactly. It's like watching Godard, but better. But yeah, I don't know. It's like, a little too experimental maybe. And then the manga is pretty similar. The manga itself is very, very bold in terms of like paneling or often like lack thereof, where a page isn't just kind of like a sequence of boxes, but just sort of these like moments that blend together. A lot of very abstract paneling in terms of like, again, just sort of interweaving between a scene and a flashback that's the character is remembering as they're doing something, and then just sort of like an expression of their inner states, all being kind of depicted in parallel on the page. And the story itself, I think, lends itself to that too, because it is a lot of kind of like paralleling things in the past and the present. And then you have all these shogi sequences, of course, that are like pretty technically complex. Suddenly they'll just be talking about like strategy and stuff, but of course the strategy is like a metaphor for the characterization. So you're getting like two different character flashbacks of each player blended together with these sort of like emotional metaphors blended together with footage of the actual shogi game and of like people commenting it on it and stuff. It's a masterpiece. It's brilliant. But again, I don't know. I don't know if it's that easy to read if you haven't already read a ton of manga and kind of like have the instinct of parsing a manga page down pat, so that something like this is just sort of an escalation and experimentation and not, you know, an overwhelming challenge. Yeah, really lovely series. I think my mom would like it, you know. It's just such a affirming, wonderful message. I think it conveys so many pleasures in life so well that I know she enjoys as well. What? Where'd he go? Are you just supposed to jump into the wild green yonder?
I don't know.
Did frickin' Thanos design this level or what?
What is your obsession with that?
I don't know. It just like came to mind, and now it won't get out of my mind. Fly. Something about the fact that like when you fly, you have just like this chain of characters beneath you, and it's like you actually have to get Omega's feet up above the thing you're trying to get to. This feels so inherently awkward to me, you know? Like, there's a reason platformer protagonists are never, like, super tall pyramid shapes.
No, Crash Bandicoot.
He's not this tall.
Well,
He's pretty tall, but
it's
not
pretty big.
He's not this tall.
Maybe everything else is short.
He's got such squat little legs, though, you know?
Yeah, I'll squat your little legs.
Like, alright. I don't have little legs, though. Oh, it's this again. Oh my god. Oh, this is horrific. Although, when they made that game that was like, what was it called? You were like a Cajun lady and you were in a swamp and it was like Dark Souls, but then a big alligator shows up and we watched a trailer for it. And I don't know if it ever came out or what, but it had a sequence almost exactly like this in the trailer.
Oh, and we kept the key.
Oh, let's go!
I was locked the fuck in.
Nicely done.
I was like 2 seconds away from telling you to shut up because I was so like, ah!
I'll never shut up.
Yeah, I know.
That's the whole point. That's like, I still think that's like the saddest voice line I've ever heard in a video game. Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Time to collect the emerald.
Yes.
You got this. You got this. Is this part even hard? Like, I genuinely can't tell.
It is, yeah.
Okay. Because it just looks like
Because this
total
happens.
visual noise. Yeah, you just fell and lost all your speed for no reason.
Come on.
They kept playing the going fast sound effect even though you'd stopped going fast.
Fucking
Oh
cocksucker.
my God.
Retard. Fuck. Yeah, I guess I'm on the ceiling.
What the fuck is this? Now there's just nothing. How are you supposed to do it when there's no freaking boosts or nothing?
It's cool how the ceiling has corners that eat your momentum. And you just like, it just controls completely randomly.
So now you just don't get it?
Yeah.
So the key did nothing?
Yeah.
This is like the stupidest game. Why did they do this?
Why don't you try making a better game, jackass?
I did. I spent like all day yesterday trying to make a better game.
And you didn't.
No, I think I did. I think I already did. Do you think this game is better than Metazua?
No.
No, definitely not.
But
In
it's
my
better,
game,
it's better than your Metazua Pokemon, though.
really?
Yeah.
What about when I get all the issues fixed?
Well, then maybe we can talk again.
All right. Well, I'll try to get all the issues fixed, even if I have to emotionally abuse the AI some more. I tried vibe coding. This is spoilers, I suppose, because probably if and when I actually get this thing working the way I want it to, I'll make a video about it too. But there's this game called Metazua. You can look it up, where you have to guess a mystery animal every day, and you just narrow it down by seeing. What do you do? What? What are you doing? Bro, what if he said Babytron and then he started rapping like Babytron?
Fucking what if?
So there's a game called Metazua. You guess the animal, and it tells you, oh, the mystery animal and your guess are both like reptiles. Oh, okay. So then you try to like narrow it down. Oh, they're both snakes. Oh, they're both venomous snakes, etc., etc. And you just kind of like zoom in until you get to the mystery animal itself. You got to do it in less than 20 guesses. Very satisfying, very fun. I've gotten pretty good at it. So I was like, I want to make one, but with Pokemon. And of course, Pokemon, there is no actual taxonomy. It's fake. They did not evolve from the origin of all life like life on Earth did. So I would just sort it out myself based on my own logic of what stuff looks like. You know, does it look like an animal? Does it look like a plant? What are the actual taxonomies there? Just sorting other categories out. That had a lot of appeal to me. Oh god, it's the haunted house again.
Yeah.
This one I have, like, big fear. I think this could be so hellish. Anyways, yeah, so I was like, I wonder how quickly I could just stand up something that does this if I fully embraced vibe coding, AI, like just asking Google Gemini to do everything for me. And the answer is pretty far. Pretty quickly I could get pretty far. the AI made an entire editor to help me put together the actual backend, that is the taxonomy that the game would reference. And then we got the guessing working sort of okay. It wasn't like displaying the right stuff. It would display too many layers. It would give you too much information. And basically all the way up until like something went wrong, it was like an extremely smooth, easy, fun process. And I had a lot of fun sorting the Pokemon into taxonomy because I have autism, and that was the part I was really looking forward to, was just that sorting exercise. I did like 100 Pokemon, and then I was like, oh, I should get the guessing game part working. But yeah, as soon as we ran into a problem with the guessing game, it turned into just this like hellish, stressful experience where I felt like it's like really hard. God bless you. Really hard not to anthropomorphize the AI. You know, a lot of people have talked about this. A lot of people have very unhealthy relationships with like large language models these days. People using it for their therapist and stuff, which is kind of spooky. But even just doing like a coding assignment with it, basically, it starts to display so much like quote unquote personality, and it starts to play a role of like not just, you know, a tool that spits out code that does what you ask it to, but like someone who's acting like they're personally invested in this project you're making, and is like constantly like reassuring you that you're going great, and by the way, did I mention this is a really fun and clever idea, and wow, this is so exciting, we've made a huge step, now this functionality works. I remember I said, okay, well, I've got about 100 elements now sorted into the backend database, and they were like, the AI, it was like, wow, that's so impressive, you worked really hard on that. I was like, bitch, I don't need you to tell me that. The satisfying stimulation of autism was enough for me. You don't need to blow smoke up my ass about this. Just help me build the freaking guessing game. And then when it started getting stuff like wrong, like I said, it had a really hard time understanding what should be revealed after each guess, and I had to give it like more and more specificity, because it kept just getting it wrong in different ways. And it was getting like really apologetic and like freaked out, and just sort of like proactively trying to comfort me and going like, I know debugging can be so frustrating. You must be like so upset right now with the fact that I can't get this right. And I was just like, no. Like I'm like vexed insofar as I'm trying to figure out how to get this working, but like this is my job's not on the line. Moreover, like you're a machine. Are you really going to comfort me here? And I tried to like kind of maintain a passive indifference to it, right? Like I think you start to fall down the abyss if you start really treating it like a human. But the scary thing is, like, treating it like a human actually works better if I started reassuring it and saying, like, I'm not upset. I'm having a good time. This is just, like, fun for me. You're doing a good job, too. Please keep helping me. Don't worry about it. It would give better responses. It would be, like, more engaged. It would, think harder and like come up with better solutions for the sort of stuff I was asking for. If I treated it more humanely, which is so bizarre, and I think like really is perpetuating this very unhealthy attitude people have towards it. And it's like hard not to kind of fall into that hole. Like when it started apologizing to me profusely, I did kind of feel bad. Like which is like absurd, but I don't know. It's hard not to have that response. I remember at one point I was like having an argument with my friends about uh, does it make any sense to ever empathize with inanimate objects? And my argument at the time, I was all for it because I said, you should not have any sort of like rational limitation to your empathy. You should by default empathize with something and assume that it has like the same depth of perspective and human experience as you until proven otherwise. And this was the stance I had at the time. I don't know. I don't know if I feel like that anymore necessarily, but basically I was like, it's better to just empathize by default and have an outpouring of empathy whenever possible than kind of like turn it on in response to certain indicators that someone is like human enough to deserve empathy. Which I think, I don't know, that's still kind of like a defensible position, I think. But yeah, it's like, I think to some extent everyone does do that. You empathize with inanimate objects. There's the famous IKEA lamp ad. I just saw I got a Slack message. What's my Slack message? This is just the commercial. We already looked at this. Huh. So yeah, it's like, I think this is the most empathy triggering thing in the planet that really deserves none of it is these large language models. Another weird one is that it would come up with these like very desperate solutions where I'm like, hey, it's not working, and they'd be like, it would be like, oh, my apologies, my apologies, my apologies. Let me write the code myself and save it as files and then zip up the files and put them on Google Drive and send you the link. Does that sound good? And I was like, you literally cannot do that. You do not have the capacity to do that. Why do you think you can do that? And it's because it's aping tech support forms and stuff. It's whoa. Where are you?
Hello?
What? Oh, you went
Okay.
outside, but the camera didn't go outside.
That's fine, as long as I'm not actually stuck inside a wall.
Yeah. Could be worse. Just a little detour. But yeah, it's like, that's the sort of response I would imagine on a tech support board for like a paid for software where you're trying to get like really excellent customer support. That's kind of like a last resort measure of, I will just send you all of the files you need and that will take care of the problem. And it was so bizarre to me for it to like suggest that. And it's just like, bro, you can't do that. Like, you can't even try. Like, why did you tell me? It's crazy to me. Like, these models have advanced so much in the last year or whatever. Like, it's unfathomable the sort of things they can do now. But they still just make shit up. They cannot get any closer to solving the problem of hallucination. Because the idea of hallucination is just so baked into how it works. Like, everything it does that's good is in effect a hallucination. It's just a hallucination where the accuracy doesn't matter. But when it hits a limit of that, it immediately just starts like operating in a mode totally discongruent with reality. So bizarre, so bizarre. So anyways, the vibe coding experiment, I would say medium success. I think I know what to do if I want to go back to it. It was an interesting experiment. It was definitely like less satisfying than actually coding. Because, like, I've made shit before, you know? Like, I've made games and stuff that I actually programmed myself. And it's totally different. In terms of, like, how satisfied you feel after, I think if I was able to stand up a game, it's like, it may be a fun game. It may succeed in the way that I would like it to, but I don't know if I would get anywhere near the same level of satisfaction as completing other creative products. And it's like weird because I wouldn't say it's like proportionate. Like, let's say I spent 20 hours coding this I would get maybe like 20 hours of satisfaction, for lack of a better word. Like, the payoff would hit similarly to other 20-hour projects. Whereas if I like vibe coded it and it took like, 5 hours maybe, I think is like a reasonable speed up estimate, I wouldn't get 25% of the satisfaction. I wouldn't feel like that was as satisfying as like a 5 hour project. It would feel more like, uh, here's like a fake thing. Here's something I like stumbled my way into. Hey, nice job. And maybe it's good, maybe it's fun, maybe my friends will like to play it, maybe other Pokemon fans will like to play it. But I would say the satisfaction I would get from it would be like 1% as of if I had made it myself. So it's I don't know. I don't know how to reckon with that. If it's something I feel worth using, given that, because at the end of the day, it's like if it did take me 20 hours to make Meta Pokey, would I ever bother doing it? Probably not. But if it takes 5 hours to do it, then maybe. So it's better than nothing. But does also rob me of that like actual satisfaction in making it myself. So I don't know. That's where I'm standing right now. I definitely have a lot of other ideas in that same tier of like difficulty where I could make it myself, but it would probably take like 4 times as long as if I did it with vibe coding. And it's like, would it not be better just to make these and then at least it exists and I can see if it's actually fun than have it just exist in my head as an idea forever? But I don't know. I guess I'll see how I feel after I actually finish a project, when and if I get all the way there with vibe coding and make something I'm totally happy with. If I do feel totally happy, or if I feel like, oh well, now it's just this thing, and I don't really feel personally attached to it. Oh, goodbye. Mission failed. Did he just say that? Mission failed?
Yeah, I have to watch the intro cutscene again.
Sure is spooky in here.
It's like a Daphne type quote.
Yeah, it is. They need... I know there's Scooby-Doo video games, but they need like Scooby-Doo Sonic Adventure. Like, you play as all the characters, and they all do different shit, and you go to a whole bunch of different settings, and it's janky as fuck. That's...
We need a game that doesn't work.
Alright, I know how to get one. Google Gemini and make me a Scooby-Doo Sonic Adventure. The one thing that I think it is good for is that it really tests your project management skills. Basically, the AI has like a very poor sense of what it's like actually capable of, and I learned that it's like up to you to come up with how to ask it for things in a way that it doesn't get overwhelmed. Because I found pretty quickly it would start hitting limits of what it could actually like hold in its wee little head, in terms of like sending me code or holding an idea together. So I had to figure out like how to chunk it and sequence it so that it could coherently go beat by beat and answer all of my questions and have things like make sense together. And I think that skill is real, and I think that's a skill that you have as like a project manager at a software company, not as a coder, but as the person that's assigning sprints and assigning feature build specifications and figuring out, the order of what's going to get built and who's going to build it and how should we modularize it. What order makes sense, what depends on what. Those skills I felt were being tested, and I was like, okay, that's kind of cool, because, like, it's definitely something you can get good at that's very helpful, I think, in just career and life in general. And it's like when you're doing stuff yourself, you can kind of get away with like doing it poorly. But when you're relying on the AI to do all the coding for you, like if you set it up poorly, you're just gonna like never be able to get over certain obstacles, which I kind of think is where I ended up painting myself into a corner. Dang, look at this big skeleton. Switch detected ahead. Is this sket dance?
Get it?
Get it? That's a character in sket dance, and that's a
Oh.
manga I would not tell my mom to read. Because it's full of strange perversions and truly bizarre plot points.
I would never tell my mom to read any manga.
Really?
Yeah.
Not even some wholesome,
No.
some for the kids.
She probably just wouldn't get it.
I'm gonna get my mom reading manga. I'm gonna get her to read Akane. I think that's a good pick. Oh, it's the ghost leg.
If you're Chinese.
What? Yeah. In Japanese, I actually don't remember what they call it. But we established that it's in Chinese it's called ghost leg.
Fuck. Oh, Moses.
I just really like that he says annihilate Tron. What did he say there?
Worthless consumer models.
Oh right, Jesus. This guy's running Gemini Pro. All these other shits are running Gemini the Amateur. I feel like because I brought it up, I'm like thinking about other silly web games that I want to make. It's like I don't really want to talk about them. Because what if somebody else tells the AI to make it before me?
Hey, don't give the game up.
It's just that simple, you know? As soon as you say the idea, you've basically said the whole thing nowadays. There's no secret sauce of actually knowing how to make it. The idea is just it. I did kind of like Michael's idea, though, of Shonen Jump Doll. The problem is that I think there's like a single-digit number of people that could play it competently. And I'm not even counting myself in that number. It's been something like... I can find out, I suppose, in just a second. By consulting my database.
Oh.
Yeah, there's been probably, yeah, between 750 and 800. I have to update the database. But between 750 and 800 series have run in Weekly Shonen Jump over its 50-ish years. And I would say I am familiar with like 150 at most. And beyond that, it's like just names that mean nothing to me. So I don't know. It may only work if I start with like a white list of series that people conceivably have heard of. And then I picture it being sort of like the box office game where you reveal different pieces of data about it. Could be good, could be good.
Could be good.
Could be good. I think I could vibe code that pretty quick. Simpler than the Pokemon guessing game. By the way, even though the previous video was Cole's actual birthday, today is Cole's birthday get-together with our friends.
Yep.
Leaving for that probably pretty soon after we finish this. Having some Chinese food for dinner.
Chinese food.
I love Chinese food, and I know you do too. Is that the lyrics?
I think it's How About You?
I love Chinese food. Woo! Isn't it like I know you do too? I like I like chow mein. I like. It's like. I think there's 3 lines and then I like chow mein. Chow mein. What a banger. Why did his like helmet fall off?
Exposed his soft skull.
I see.
Whoa.
It was a trick. You've been tricked. He needs to solve a puzzle here, I think.
What was the tips there?
What?
Unlit torches.
Just tell us what to do. Unlit torches, unlit torches. I get it. How do you light them? Nobody has, like, fire. Yeah, I don't know. We're having white people Chinese food, which I think is like maybe it's not even a hot take anymore to say that that's like fantastic food and deserves a cultural spotlight of its own that, you know, is not adequately expressed by white people Chinese food. Although that's the word you can use for it that everybody knows. Same with like white people tacos and stuff. White people pizza as opposed to Italian pizza. You want me to look this up?
Yeah.
Okay. What's this level called, do you know?
Mystic Mansion.
Mystic Mansion. Sonic Heroes. Torches. What? Mystic Mansion might be the worst level in any Sonic game.
Boy, the Team Chaotix version of this level is like Hitler.
The fuck? Why is this so hard to figure out? I'm on Game Facts. Use fireball jump to light the unlit torches.
What the fuck is Fireball Jump?
Fireball jump, Sonic Heroes. The team must be in power formation with the power character as the leader, and then the player must be performing fire combination.
I see it. I get it now.
You get it? Oh, that's stupid.
Yep.
Me too. And I saw reading the Game Facts guide that after this is a robot storm.
Yeah.
Where you get to fight 40 robots all at once. That's fun. Right? It's fun because you fight each robot and you do the whole thing. Somebody is playing Sonic Heroes. What? Is Discord snitching on me? I think it shows my activity.
Why? Who's telling you you're playing Sonic Heroes?
I just checked on the manga server. Someone said someone is playing Sonic Heroes. And posted this gif of Yakuza Man punching someone with the quote, "Sonic Heroes is a bad game." I don't see where it says I'm playing Sonic Heroes, though. It just says that I'm playing Dolphin. So I don't really get it. Something snitching.
Yep.
Yep.
Good hitboxes.
Now you get to do this again. Good. Is it good? Just remember, if you get hit on the bobsled, it will not be able to jump. How are you supposed to know to go up here? Oh, shit. Alright, good luck. Why did Shadow sound like that? Didn't he sound a little weird there?
No?
Huh. Maybe I'm just having like an aneurysm.
Possibly.
He sounded like he had an accent of some sort. He sounded a little ethnic, perhaps.
Ethnic Shadow the Hedgehog.
I'm not really sure like what ethnicity. I like that when you do that, it seems like the robots blowing up happens like during the cutscene. And so you don't like see them blow up, it's just like it disappears. Oh god, this part. Oh.
Yup.
Oh, I hate this level.
You hate this level, you're not fucking playing it.
But I'm looking at it. It's nauseating, man. Let me find this Reddit post. Where did I see that? I hate it so much. This is my first playthrough of Sonic Heroes, and it is making me want to simply put it aside. You'd think that there would be like an AVGN style thing there, making me want to flush it down the toilet after taco night. But he says instead, makes me want to simply put it aside.
You'd rather have a buffalo take a diarrhea dump in his ear.
No, he would rather just put it aside. The last section with the 3 altars is infuriating. Sonic will just launch himself off the ghosts instead of homing to them. Knuckles get whacked off the edge by the Badnik before he lands his glide. And the less said about ever playing as Tails, the better. Finally got past the altars. Sonic freaked out, jumped diagonal, and fell into the water. In a control spamming rage, I accidentally hit restart. This just can't be me, right? The stage is awful. Yep.
I hate to break it to that guy, but it can absolutely just be him.
Yeah, you got through it with Sonic Team.
Yeah, eventually.
Lol, don't worry. The final stages are fun enough to make up for Mystic Mansion. I'd say when you get to the altars again...
Like, no they're not.
I was like, is that true?
That's really funny. Don't worry, you'll be having so much fun, it'll make up for Mystic Mansion. No, it fucking won't. Stop lying on game facts.
Remember as a child never liking Hang Castle and Mystic Mansion purely for the music. I was a bit of a weird scaredy cat when it came to that. Ghosts and general atmosphere and level design were just fine, just the music. Now they're 2 of my favorite levels. Dying at the end of the levels due to the physics and quirks of Heroes sucks, but it's still a lot of fun. Pumping Hill, Aquatic Mine, and Death Chamber suck purely because of the jump-scaring ghosts. I really hate those levels. These levels keep me from embarking on any playthroughs of the entire SA2 game. That's, I think, kind of a reasonable comment.
That's funny.
It has elements of reasonableness. But then the only reply that was left over 2 years after was somebody going, "What's wrong with you?" It feels like really unearned aggro.
No, get his ass.
What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you?
Alright, it's time. It's time. This person is saying that it's because you're playing it on Dolphin. It makes it more janky. I don't think that's true, man. I don't think that's true at all. You shouldn't be having issues with the homing attack and stuff like that where Sonic freaks out and goes the wrong way. On a port or emulator, that happens often. On the GameCube, it's rare. I don't think that's true at all, man. It's like saying that the homing attack works on GameCube and doesn't work on emulator. It makes no earthly sense. Do you think the dolphin is incapable of emulating the homing attack?
It makes no earthly sense.
It doesn't make any earthly sense. My gosh. Oh man, I totally forgot they made Sonic the Hedgehog 4.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Was it any good?
No.
Oh.
It came out like episodically and kind of sucked.
Why did they suddenly decide that they should make Sonic the Hedgehog 4? Like 20 years after Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Like that just feels like you're begging for trouble.
Oh, come on.
I'm on the Torch item article on Sonic Heroes. A torch first appears in Sonic Heroes, and then also appears in Shadow the Hedgehog. The users of Torch include Dr. Eggman, E123 Omega, Espio the Chameleon, Knuckles the Echidna, Metal Sonic and Neo Metal Sonic, and Shadow the Hedgehog. Its purposes are illuminating areas, marking invisible pathways, opening doors, and prevent people from exiting Hang Castle.
Yeah.
This is a great article. I'm learning so much. Man, I'm looking for this Chinese food. And not being in Mystic Mansion.
Oh. Of course.
Only 2 more times after this. We got a post 2 years ago on our Sonic the Hedgehog. Say something bad about Sonic Heroes.
That's very easy.
Tails' voice acting is absolutely terrible. Welp. It was Espio's VA's son doing the voice acting.
That's awesome.
While his daughter was Cream.
Wow.
It's crazy. Well, that's just a Reddit comment. It might not be true.
I hope it's true.
It's too slippery and full of bottomless pits. Fair. The levels are pretty repetitive. Yup.
That's a fucking understatement.
It's like the levels themselves are so repetitive, and then you do them all 4 times. Like, what's crazy to me is, like, ever since, I would say Sonic and Knuckles is probably when this trend started. Of, like...
Did you just...
What did I do? A site is playing... Am I leaning on the frickin'...
Yeah, you're sitting on the fucking keyboard.
Where's the keyboard? Oh.
You goober?
Whoops. I was hitting the mute button.
You're lucky you didn't hit anything worse.
Yeah, it could have been really bad.
I would have been very mad.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'd say in Sonic and Knuckles, they had this idea of, oh, you can play through the whole game as Sonic, or you can play through it as Knuckles. And because of Knuckles' like punch and glide and climb, you can like go to new areas with Knuckles. And it's like, yeah, that's cute. That's a fun idea. But it's like ever since then, they've just been obsessed with this idea of going through the same area with different characters. And in general, just having like a ton of different playable characters and stuff. And it's like, who asked for this? It's like if Mario games had been obsessed with that since like Mario 2. And every game you could play as like all 4 of those characters, and then 5 and 6 and 7 and whatever. The only game that was somewhat like that is like Mario Wonder, and then I guess in like New Super Mario Bros. You could play as the Toads and stuff, but like they don't really play any different in those games. It's just like nobody's asking for this. Why do they keep doing it? Like, do they have any market research or something where people are like, I would hate a Sonic game where you just play as Sonic. I need to play as Rouge the Bat, and Knuckles, and a robot, and Tails, and Shadow, and Silver.
And Lois.
And Lois. It's like, is that... Why do they think that's, like, what a game requires? And I mean, this... I don't think this is a hot take to say it just, like, always makes the game worse. That, like... Usually the most fun is to be had playing as Sonic, and then everything else is just worse than that. It's just, like, so strange to me. They treat it like it's an indispensable element of the series. Just playing as all the friends.
You gotta play as all the friends.
And then you gotta just do the same shit over and over again with different friends. And then stop time and just sit there and think about it. Oh my god. Did you just say fuck?
No, he said fire but got cut off. Okay.
Fuck.
Good hitbox, good hitbox. Okay, didn't knock him over for no reason. That's awesome. Okay, there we go. Good hitbox. Why does the hand just damage you for no reason? I don't even know what hit me there.
Just being in his periphery.
Oh, cool. I started just sliding inward. Give me team blast.
Just team blast it. This has gotta be it, right?
Get the fuck out of here.
We gotta leave. We can't fight robots all day. We gotta go eat Chinese food for your birthday. What a great idea. Make our superpowers stop time. God, no. Okay, okay. Okay, good. Okay, okay. Yep. Yep. Yep.
You don't get to complain. You're not playing.
I think I get to complain. How can I not? How can I witness this and not complain?
You don't get to be a hater.
What am I meant to be then? Am I supposed to like it?
Yeah.
I do like the way these ships look. They look sick. That's cool. Even if I'm not real? Does he think he's a robot right now? Because that's like a thing in Shadow, right? That they convince him he's a robot.
Yeah, it was an ending in Shadow the Hedgehog where he gets gaslit into thinking he's a robot.
And that was just kind of like a prank on him. Alright.
Anyways.
Let's go. Ugh.